Hello everyone, it's Sebastian here, and today I'm going to be presenting a different type of video today than what I normally do. And by normally do, I mean whenever I post, which by the way, I'm going to be trying to do more regular videos. I'm going to try for several once a week, no promises, but it's like what I'm going to be aiming for, and hopefully I can get into streaming, but like that's all stuff that I can explain in another video. Because today we'll be talking about two Dracos. You know, that deck that everyone enjoys playing against, and people enjoy playing. Like, I really like playing two Dracos. It's honestly one of my favourite decks. And sort of 2019 has been an interesting year for them. There's been several sort of exciting changes to how the deck can be played, and in the later part of the year we see different sort of strategies do well at events at YCSs. And so sort of I wanted to make this video today, sort of like a 2019 True Draco rewind. I've spent a lot of time like sort of planning this video. I've researched several different events. I've made dueling book like deck lists for each sort of top I talk about, and sort of I've even wrote essentially a 3,000 word essay. And you might be wondering who would write a 3,000 word essay about True Dracos. Apparently I would. And so today I'll be presenting you this video on sort of how True Dracos have adapted over this past year, and sort of the direction they might be going later on, heading into 2020. And so the first place to look really would be the format of 28th of January 2019. Which was the first Banlist that we received this year. And in February we saw Draco Drew, fitting name, pilot the Monarchs Erupt in True Draco to get second place at the Rochester Regional. This variant of True Draco focuses more on using floodgates to decrease the ceiling of other decks, and has been a very popular way to play the deck after Masterpiece, the True Draco Slaying King, was banned in 2018, unfortunately, in the opinion of some people. Since then, the trend in True Draco has been to play floodgates and sort of cut the extra deck in favour of playing the Monarchs Erupt, which is essentially extra copies of Skill Drain, a very good card, might I add. As it is a continuous trap that does not hurt the core of the deck, it provides a lot of synergy with the True Draco strategy. Throughout the year, you can see this build of True Draco see even more success at a regional level. A week later, YCS Dusseldorf happens, the one where they split it in two, and we see Nikolai Stiborg pilot True Dracos to top 32 of YCS Dusseldorf 1, using a similar strategy of cutting the extra deck in favour of a game-winning floodgate like the Monarchs Erupt. In addition to the Monarchs Erupt, both Stiborg and Drew were playing floodgates such as Dekamuni 1, which was seeing a lot more use after the release of Thunder Dragon in Soul Fusion, and essentially became a staple in the Erupt builds after the release of the Soulburner structure deck, which was legal for that YCS, might I add. Draco Drew played Gozamats and sided a singular rivalry of Warlords for his regional list, whilst Nikolai Stiborg for Dusseldorf main deck rivalry and sided a singular Gozamat. Nikolai also main decked Inspector Border, which was seen to be a major component of Erupt Draco lists due to its incredibly powerful monster limiting effect, which was seen to auto-win, essentially, matchups such as Danger Orcus, Salamangre and Thunder Dragon. For whether or not it should have been in the main deck, that was a debated topic, as people against playing Inspector Board in the main were used the argument that it was bad to see when you were going second, whilst people who defended that deck building decision would use an argument such as it being a major blowout card going first, which makes it worth it. However, before the next Banlist had been released, in early March, an interesting take on the deck was able to get second place at Bournemouth Regional. That's in England, for those who don't know. This being the first time we see Sky Striker True Draco function and do well at an event, as far as I'm aware. The pilot behind this interesting variant was Alec Drinkwater. He decided to play Striker Draco and utilize cards such as Set Rotation. Though the focus on the deck is the advantage you can gain with Sky Striker Mobilize Engage, that combined with power cards such as Card of Demise gave Alec Drinkwater a consistent strategy that unfortunately fades into obscurity. but will come back on the rise near the end of the year. And on the 21st of March, we saw the release of Infinity Chasers, a 60-card side set that focused on making 3 new archetypes, Infinitrax, Witchcrafters, and Evil Eye. They're not relevant, but Evil Eye is, which Evil Eye becomes a deck that some people decide to combine with the True Draco strategy, with essentially calling Celestial Watch of the Evil Eye a masterpiece or mini masterpiece, as it has a quick effect to pop a monster on the field. And the Evil Eye strategy also provides Dracos a counter trap, which helps against cards like Evenly Matched and Twin Twisters. However, this variant of True Dracos is not really explored until quite a while later. Now we look at the ban list of the 29th of April, which is a WCQ season, the WCQ being a hotly contested event that many professional players go to get their invite to the World Championship. And in this WCQ season, which is the last sort of format of the competitive season, we should take a look at Europe, because there are the Nationals, which are kind of like mini Premier events in each sort of European country that can give an invite to the WCQ, as well as like get special mats, etc. And so these are sort of like a good indication of what might be played at the WCQ. And at these Nationals, we see a continued domination of the Monarchs Erupt in True Draco strategies. To give some examples, Sebastian Brown gets top 32 at Spanish Nationals, Antonio Pedro gets top 4, and Carlos Mendez gets top 8 at the Portugal National. And sort of these are kind of relevant, and despite being an unofficial event, there was an ARG event in Springfield which saw Sean Brown take an extra deck focused build of True Dracos to top 16. He played cards such as Metatron 12, the True Draco combatant, in the main deck, combined with cards such as Crackdown to make summoning Metatron easier. He also played Summon Limit, which was picking up some popularity around this time as a strong card that restricts the opponent from summoning too much, and forcing faster decks to slow down to True Draco's pace. Whilst cards such as Crackdown and Summon Limit can be seen as questionable, especially in the main deck, they were seen by a group of True Draco players as important to the strategy. An advantage of the extra deck builds of True Draco is that they can take advantage of power cards such as Super Polymerization, which was just semi-limited at the ban list, and the effect of Metatron 12, the True Draco combatant, which could summon a monster from the extra deck when it got outed. Sean Brown mentions how when he summons Natura Exterio or the last warrior of the planet, he essentially wins the game at that point. Most extra deck True Draco lists would be playing Metatron and Super Polymerization at this time, as well as the 3 rank 5 such as number 61 Focus Auras, and generic powerful link monsters such as Heater the Fire Charmer Ablaze and Nightmare Phoenix. And sort of continuing on this trend of extra deck monsters, extra deck focused builds of True Draco, we see at the Italian Nationals, Mattia Rabora got top 32 of his extra deck True Dracos, but he had a different approach to Sean Brown's list. Mattia focused more on the link monsters such as Mech Knight Crusader Alphamats and Link Gersu the World Chalice Warrior. He main decked a single copy of Scapegoat and played cards in his extra deck such as Link Spider and Link Karibo to help use the Scapegoat tokens to link climb to these powerful link monsters. He also, whilst comboing off with Scapegoat, you can draw cards of Nightmare Phoenix, which is kind of big. In addition, he also played Sky Striker Ace Hayate and Dingersu the Orcus of the Evening Star, which had synergy with Crackdown, as he could use Crackdown to steal a Sky Striker or Orcus link monster, and then make Hayate or Dingersu, which gave him advantage, and also meant that if he lost his Crackdown, his opponent doesn't get anything back. And sort of overlaying Dingersu onto the Orcus link also pits that Orcus link out of circulation, which is relevant in the Orcus matchup. At the WCQs though, they didn't really do so well, but Angelo Parisi was able to get top 64 at the European WCQ with an extra deck build of True Draco. So again, seeing extra decks have more relevance in this format. Sort of his list was more similar to Sean Brown's than Matthias was, with a focus on super polymerization over link monsters, though he still played the Sky Striker, Ace Hayate and the Dingursu with the crackdown. Parisi decided to dedicate 6 slots of his extra deck to super polymerization targets, even including fusion monsters such as Infoked Mechaba. During WCQ season, we saw Soul Drain regain popularity in True Draco builds as an answer to decks that made plays from the graveyard and banish power such as Orcus and Thunder Dragon. Around this time, we also saw Either Eye True Draco get top 8 at a regional in Tulsa, being piloted by Dylan Goose. The only Either Eye monster he played was Cercial, Watch of the Either Eye, as he wanted to keep his monster count at 8 for Card of Demise. He played an extra deck in addition to the Either Eye engine, though he used it as an opportunity to use Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. This would be the first time we see Either Eye True Draco in action, taking advantage of the engine for the quick effect destroying effect on Cercial, and the easily searchable counter trap. And it definitely won't be the last time we see Either Eye True Draco this year. And so the WCQ format has concluded, and we received a major ban list on the 15th of July, which made significant changes, mostly benefiting the True Draco strategy. We saw cards such as Sky Striker Mecha Modules Multi-Roll limited. They banned the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardich. They severely hit the Danger Thunder strategy, and they damaged Salamangreats and severely hit their consistency with Circle and Gazelle going to 1. The ban list also addressed several cards that were strong against backrow strategy, such as Trickster Light Stage, another hit to the Orcus deck. And we saw Solemn Judgment come back to 3, which gave True Draco a great answer to cards such as Twin Twisters and Evenly Match, while also being able to be used against other power cards and summons. From here we see both extra deck and Monarch Erupt builds of True Draco get consistent regional tops, though it's mostly Erupt builds being played as it is the cheaper variant to build. One notable example is Jared Centimore, Jared Centimore getting second place at the Philadelphia Regional with the Erupt build of True Dracos. For this regional, he chose to main deck 3 copies of Solemn Judgment, which just came off the ban list. Whilst True Dracos did not see representation at the top cut of YCS Ghent, it did see a revolutionary take on the deck at YCS Fort Worth, with both Noah Belgiumon and Johnny Lee getting to top 8 of the YCS with Sky Striker cards in their True Draco list. This is when Sky Striker True Draco starts to get popular, with notable players such as Koti Angelov even picking up the deck after Fort Worth. Even though this take of Striker Draco is significantly different to Alec Drinkwater's approach near the start of the year, with a bigger focus on the advantage you can gain from Sky Striker Mobilized Engage and not playing cards such as Card of Demise. Noah Belgiumon's list, like I said, did not include the Card of Demise, which Alec Drinkwater did. Though similarly to Drinkwater's list, there was a focus on how insane set rotation can be, especially when it is exploiting cards such as Sky Striker Airspace Area 0, which True Draco spells can pop to give access to Sky Striker Ace Ray. With the 2 Sky Striker Draco tops at YCS Fort Worth, this starts a streak of True Draco variants topping YCSs, which happens and is currently ongoing. And so we start to approach the end of the year, with True Draco starting to gain momentum in this format after the 14th of October ban list, despite the release of Chaos Impact giving Orcus an insane tool in IP Masquerena, which is a card that gets further exploited after YCS London. True Dracos remain a relevant and consistently topping deck at a YCS level. At YCS London, we saw Mattia Rafasi get top 32 with extra deck True Dracos. Mattia Rafasi plays a list which is similar to what Monarch Erupt builds would look like, except he plays Super Polymerization as a replacement for the Monarch Erupt. His extra deck contains 8 potential Super Polymerization targets alongside the Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon for the potential Cyber Dragon Orcus matchup. Alongside this, he plays both Heater the Fire Charmer Ablaze and the recently released Rin the Wind Charmer Verdant, as strong Link 2s that can extend his plays into other Link monsters, such as the Topologic Bomber Dragon he played, which was a big monster, 3k attack, and also burns and blows up the whole board. Again, We see another extra deck True Draco list that is also playing Crackdown, though it's in the side with Dingersu as a card he can go into after using Crackdown. Interestingly enough, he does not play Sky Striker Link monster for him to use Sky Striker Link when he deals with Crackdown to go into. At the 333 YCS Lima, there were two teams that both had the True Draco player top. The team with the extra deck player made it to top 16, whilst the team with the Monty Rock player got second place. After this was YCS Pasadena. At this event, we start to see Orcus Sky Striker dominating the meta. Unfortunately, with the rise of Sky Striker cards being played in Orcus, more than just drones and Eagle Booster, and the strength of IP Masquerena using her effect to go into Topologic Trispana or Topologic Zero Bowlers, both are definitely strong against True Dracos. It starts to look bad for True Dracos this format. This is where Inspector Border starts to become a card commonly cut for most True Draco lists due to how ineffective it is going first or second against Orcus Sky Striker. Despite how insane Orcus Sky Striker was and how the most popular of the deck had a really strong Draco matchup, Cody Angelov, Welsh competitor, manages to get second place at YCS Pasadena with True Draco Sky Striker and continues the True Draco Premier event top streak. His list is similar to what Noah Belgemon played at YCS Fort Worth, even including the Spellbook engine. However, Cody Angelov decided to main deck 3 copies of Nibiru, the Primal Being, in his Sky Striker Draco list. He also played deck Moniron, whilst Noah Belgemon had avoided playing Floodgates. Though similar to Noah Belgemon and Alec Drinkwater's Striker Draco list, and Cody Angelov makes a note about how strong and powerful set rotation is, especially in the True Draco strategy. Cody Angelov continues this trend of Draco Striker, focusing on Link monsters, though he plays Dingersu for when he steals an Orcus Link monster with the effect of Sky Striker Mecha Ridoranker. An interesting tech Cody played at Pasadena was Amphibious from Ship Ambler Rail. I'm gonna be real, I'm not too sure what it does, but it's a card he played. At YCS Milan, extra deck True Draco got another top 32 being piloted by Lars Jonjinger. He decided to main deck 2 copies of Solemn Strike and Summon Limit. Wow, that was awful. As well as 3 copies of Into the Void to draw additional cards. He chose to side deck Super Polymerization instead of main decking it, like previous extra deck True Draco players were doing. He has decided 3 Fossil Dine Apache Cephalo as an answer to Orcus IP Masquerena setups, and opted to side 2 copies of Imperial Iron Ball to counter the Orcus strategy. He chose to use Sky Striker Ace Kaina as a Striker Link monster to use with Crackdown, but getting second place at the same YCS was Maximilian Defel, but this time he was playing Monarch Erupt similarly to what he did previous years. That means the last YCS of the year resulted in True Dracos getting second place after several close calls, such as having to deal with a normal summoned Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. In the Fel's list, he also played 3 copies of Into the Void to help him see more of his cards, and I'm going to assume it was for siding patterns, which would explain him playing 42 cards. Another interesting card that the Fel played, which isn't common, is Strike of the Monarchs. This is a card he seems to really like, as he played it to top YCS London and YCS Milan last year, and he's playing it still with YCS Milan this year. It can be a strong card with you being able to tribute a True Draco monster you summon to negate a face-up card on the field, and then you draw a card, which can help deck win. He also decided System Down for the Orcus matchup instead of Artifact Lancia. This is a strong side deck card against Orcus as it banishes all their available resources, forcing them to lose the resource game essentially. And it does not have the disadvantage of Artifact Lancia, where because System Down is a spell and not a monster, it doesn't conflict with Color Demise. It also means that if you draw into it, it's better than if you draw into the Lancia. And since System Down is a spell, you can set it when you open Color Demise, which vice you can for Lancia. System Down you can activate after you set, which you can't for Lancia, which sort of these just make System Down a better card against for Dracos to side than Lancia is. Defal had also decided to side the Solemn Judgments instead of main decking it. And then finally, to wrap up the year, Evil Eye True Draco managed to get a regional top again, piloted this time by Kyler Price in December at the Fayetteville Regional. He decided to play a slightly bigger Evil Eye package than previous Evil Eye True Draco list, where he played 2 copies of Evil Eye Selene and 2 copies of Evil Eye Retribution. He also played a recently released Gorgon Empress of the Evil Eye, which is a link to Evil Eye monster that can negate monster effects if it has an Evil Eye Selene equipped. It also destroys monsters it's pointing to at some point. Like previous Evil Eye True Draco and Extra Deck True Draco builds, he played Lose 1 turn as an alternative to the missing Monarch's Erupt. And so to conclude, I would like to say that 2019 has been a good year for the True Draco archetype, especially in the later stages of the year, with the obvious strategies of Erupt and Extra Deck builds staying strong alongside the innovation of interesting strategies such as Evil Eye and Sky Striker variants of the deck. I think True Draco is a very interesting archetype, and it's definitely one of my favourite decks to have played. I've played Dracos for almost a year. And so it's sort of a deck that's sort of stuck with me. It's a deck I'm never going to give up. I'm always going to test it every format to see how playable it is. I took it to ICS London, for example, went 8-3. And so I'm very interested to see how the deck evolves heading into 2020, especially with the new changes to the Master Rule being applied in April. Yes, it'll be very interesting how the Erupt builds change with the new Master Rule. I'll also be interested to see what creative combinations people come up with and how the nets through Banlist will affect current True Draco strategies. Like, how will the deck adapt to Orcus being hit, maybe, potentially. Sky Striker gets hit, that's good for Dracos. Silent Mindgrates get hit, that's fine for Dracos. Sort of these decks are gonna be hit, whilst True Dracos should remain relatively untouched. Mean that True Dracos are just naturally going to keep getting better and better heading into 2020, and so I'm really excited to see how that ends up going. And so to wrap things up, I'm kind of bad at outros, but to just conclude, this has definitely been an interesting video, not what I normally make, hopefully higher quality. I'm hoping it's better quality at least. And so if you if you like this content, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoy your happy new year of 2020.